Debbie Wasserman Schultz is speaking before them. The crowd at first cheered and then jeered her. It was very raucous. In fact, order had to be restored before Debbie Wasserman Schultz made her remarks. Let's listen to what's going on now.
About making sure that we can have the voices across our state heard. And standing with the people who were injured and who were killed is so incredibly important. So I know that you and I together will continue to fight to make sure that people who should not have guns cannot get access to them. And I will continue to fight every day with you to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I can see there's a little bit of interest in my being here, and I appreciate that interest, and a little bit of interest from the press, but that really shows that Florida is the most significant battleground state that will make sure that Hillary Clinton is elected President of the United States of America. We are the state that will deliver the White House to make sure that we can continue to make the progress that we have been able to make under Barack Obama for the last 8 years. I'm so proud to have been able to serve as the chair of the Democratic National Committee. And yesterday I had the great honor of speaking to both President Obama and Hillary Clinton. I thank President Obama for the honor of serving as the chair of the Democratic National Committee and being able to watch his back and bring him across the finish line in 2012, which we did on the shoulders of Florida's voters. Didn't we, Florida Democrats? Yes, we sure did. And we're going to do it again. I also had the privilege of speaking to Hillary Clinton. And she thanked me for my service. We had a wonderful conversation, and she asked me, and I committed to her that I would serve as a surrogate throughout this campaign so that we could make sure that she is able to help build on the progress that we've been able to make for the last 8 years, because we have a lot of work to do. We have so much to do, and we have to make sure that we move forward together in a unified way. We know that the voices in this room that are standing up and being disruptive, we know that that's not the Florida that we know. The Florida that we know is united. The Florida that we know is going to make sure that we continue to create jobs like the 14.8 million jobs that were created under Barack Obama's leadership. The 20 million people who now have health care that didn't have it before. For me as a breast cancer survivor, and I know there's many survivors in this room, we have to make sure that insurance companies can't drop us or deny us coverage that they used to be able to do to kick us to the curb when it came to covering us with health care. We've had 3/4 of the deficit reduced under President Obama, and we have made sure that we could continue to build our economy, and we must, under President Hillary Clinton, make sure that our economy works for everyone. I look forward to continuing to represent my constituents in Florida's 23rd Congressional District. And thank all of you for your incredible support. I'm going to continue to make sure that Florida has a strong voice to speak loud and proud on our values. And you will see me every day between now and November 8th on the campaign trail. And we will lock arms, and we will not stand down. We will make sure that the people of Florida have the priorities that we know we need to accomplish. Thank you very much, and on to victory. Thank you.
Okay, so that was a little surreal, right? The embattled DNC chair, who was in essence fired, speaking before the Florida delegation. We'll talk more about that But I got to take a break first. Jay Lee is at this breakfast that the Florida delegation just held. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the embattled, now I guess fired DNC chair, spoke. And as you can see, people were waving those signs right in Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They were email signs, and they weren't very positive signs. At times the crowd booed. Some people cheered, but mostly it was a very negative reaction to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So you have to wonder, why did she speak? I know she's running for re-election in the state of Florida, but seriously, when things are at a full boil, why did she speak? MJ Lee was at that event. Let's ask her if she knows the answer to that question. Why?
Yeah, Carol, I mean, this was just a scene of complete chaos as Debbie Wasserman Schultz took the stage. As you mentioned, there were some people who were cheering Debbie, Debbie, Debbie to show their support. However, the protesters, I guess you can call them, the critics of Wasserman Schultz began to chant, against her, basically sort of booing her off the stage. They were yelling things like shame, shame, shame. And you can see from the pictures holding up signs that said the word emails, and also some people who were holding Bernie Sanders posters. Now, Wasserman Schultz tried to power through her speech despite there being so much booing and so much yelling against her, but you could obviously tell that this was a very sort of awkward situation for her to be in. This was a breakfast that she was supposed to speak at originally, even before she made the decision yesterday to resign from her position as head of the DNC. Now, I think the big question is, after seeing what went down at this breakfast, will she still insist on speaking at the convention later today? If that were to be the case, you could imagine a situation where this kind of sort of anger and frustration erupts on the convention floor, and you can imagine why Democratic leaders would not want that kind of scene to break out again on the convention floor.
I saw Debbie Wasserman Schultz being escorted out. Who was surrounding her, MJ?
Yeah, as she left the stage, obviously a lot of reporters and members of the press wanted to talk to her, wanted to ask her questions. So there was a huge scrum of press trying to follow her. So she was basically surrounded by members of security as she left. We tried to ask her some questions to get her reaction to all of this. She just looked forward and left the room very quickly, Carol.
Is it curious that she did not mention this scandal at all surrounding the DNC and its hacked emails?
Right. I mean, this was obviously the huge elephant in the room. And I think even when people started yelling specifically about this scandal, she did not address the issue. I think that she originally wanted to come here to talk about the issues that she wanted to talk about, the issues that matter to Floridians. The room here is filled with Florida delegates, and I think she stuck to that script. I don't know what she could have said to address the email controversy, since she has already made the decision to leave her post as of the DNC. Again, I think the big question is, will she still insist on speaking on the convention stage later today, despite some of the clear anger and frustration that's really boiling over here in Philadelphia?
I want to bring in Andrea Mitchell. She joins me on the phone. She was inside the Florida delegation breakfast. Andrea, what did you hear? Because for us, we heard cheering, we heard jeering. It really seemed quite chaotic.
She was booed off the stage. I've never seen anything like this. The chair of the Democratic Party, a congresswoman from Florida, who has been enormously popular within her district and is facing re-election, was absolutely booed by protesting Bernie Sanders supporters right off of the stage. She had to break off her speech trying to shout over them, finally gave up and was escorted out by security. Pretty unprecedented, and it is only a hint of what would happen if she shows up on the podium, scheduled to gavel it down at 4 o'clock today. Ed Rendell on MSNBC on Morning Joe earlier suggesting that she really should not even do that. And I think between now and 4 o'clock, there's going to have to be a lot. There has to be a lot of soul searching and a lot of political wisdom for people advising her, because I can't see how she can show up on that podium without multiplying the effect of what just happened downtown Philadelphia hotel. It was pretty amazing.
Given what just happened at that breakfast, what would the DNC's motivation be to continue to have her on that podium tonight at a night that's all about unity? And you've got people like Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren who do get big support from crowds are up there speaking. Why still keep her?
Well, they probably figured that they could have her gavel down because they gavel in around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not prime time. They figured that that would get it out of the way and still clear the decks for their prime time big name speakers. But I'm not sure that they can still do that because whatever happens at 4 o'clock is going to be put out there on social media and on live, of course, on MSNBC and recycled to all of the evening newscasts and prime time on MSNBC and picked up by the Republicans and tweeted out by Donald Trump. I mean, it just is not tenable on a day when they're trying to protect unity.